Hello and welcome to the weekend edition. I'm Dr. Kingori. Now, the SGR trains are here and they are almost a month old, and we are not getting over that excitement anytime soon. I see one of the main reasons the trains of the government launched the project is to ease traffic. And to some extent that has been achieved. And Kenyans now have every excuse to go to Mombasa.
Anakuja pande kufanya hiyo maneno. Na ilikuwa anaenda Mombasa. Sasa ndio hiyo Mombasa ni hapa.
Huyo mama alikuja kwangu kama nalia, bwana wake ni msharati sana. Sasa akaanza kumsaidia. Akamwambia mama, utaona kazi yangu vile nafanya. Ndio yeye amefanya kazi hii, ndio kama utena weka hapa majina za bwana yako ama ya mwanamke wako, naanza kuwafunganisha hivi nafunga.
You all know the story. The husband was on his way to Mombasa, but he got stuck in Nakuru. He did not make it to the SGR. You see, Miritini and Mitini can be a little confusing. Now, there is no denying that the SGR project is efficient, but there is a little problem. The railway itself is sandwiched in traffic on both sides. From Miritini to Mombasa, traffic. From Syokimau to the Nairobi CBD, traffic. It's like a sliced loaf of bread, but the jam is on the outer parts. Now, the options you have to get to your final destinations are you either take a cab from the stop or take the old train to town. Now, the SGR is classic. It's fine. If I were to compare it with food, I'll say it's a hot dog. What we had before ilikuwa mutura. Mutura ya chuma. Mutura iko na watu ndani. So imagine 4 hours kwenye hot dog, alafu utoke uingie kwa mutura. Now, the interesting thing is that you'd rather take the mutura to town because you will save time. The time it will take you from Syokimau to the city center can be equal to the time you took from Mombasa to Syokimau on the SGR train because of the traffic jam you may have encountered on Mombasa Road. And that's the subject of our show tonight, traffic jam. Traffic has put us on the world map, with the main causes of traffic ranging from, of course, poor road planning initial. The road structure of Nairobi was initially designed to cater for 300,000 vehicles only. But currently, the number of vehicles in Nairobi is almost 1 million. That's like trying to get Honorable Eugene Wamalwa to wear a motorbike helmet. I'm not saying it's impossible, it's just unfair. It's not impossible. It's definitely possible. But that's unfair to the helmet. Unless tumtafutie helmet kama hii. Now, for close to 1 million cars to fit in the space of 300,000 cars, with an additional 120,000 more cars being bought every year, that's a growing disaster. It's even worse when you factor in matatu drivers knowing how they drive. Now, they cause traffic while trying to avoid traffic. Derewa mat akiona 2 cars in front and they are not moving. Where are you going? And by the way, hiyo ni mati ya kawaida. Mati za Kayole zinakuanga hivi. Wao wenda home na lori. No offense. Watu wa Kayole wenda home na lori. And if this is how they drive, I wonder how derewa Kayole anaweza endesha vits hivi. Now, then you have to include amateur drivers, especially ladies. You see, you have to drive at their pace. Gari za madematas drive, they catwalk. And if you make the mistake of scratching a lady's car in Nairobi, the whole city is not going to work. In fact, take this as a tip. If you happen to get caught in traffic in Nairobi, alafu ulize usikie kuna gari ya kasichana imegwarwa hapa ndio sababu watu waendi. Piga simu kwa ofisi, omba ruhusa, then tell them, guys, see you tomorrow. You see, the norm around here is that if an accident happens, even if it's minor, and both parties involved cannot agree in good time, then you have to wait for a police officer to come and decide who was on the wrong. So kwa jam, karibu kila mtu ni mtoto, askari ndio mtu mzima. Yes. This is unlike Dubai, where everything gets captured on camera. So if an accident happens, roads are cleared faster. Kesi baadaye. We also have cameras, but ours are like street lights. They see, but they don't record. So if you make a mistake of scratching a lady's car, you have to face the man in her life. So when you scratch a lady's car in Nairobi, you better hope she's still single or her boyfriend is not out of the country. Otherwise, the whole city will have to wait for a boyfriend to jet in. People have spent up to 12 hours in traffic. Beba aliniambia nisisonge mpaka afike. Ameshatoka Qatar anaingia na ndege ya usiku. Na umemguara saa 1 asubuhi. So basically, the main causes of traffic in Nairobi or in this city is matatu drivers, ladies drivers, na sio wote, and then Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel.
I'm sure that's true of the word Israel for many parts of Kenyan society until today, because I understand there's a traffic problem. Now, I have to tell you, I don't understand. We are driving through Nairobi. There is no traffic problems.
Really, man? Really? And how can I forget our politicians? How could I forget our politicians and their convoys? It's interesting how we expect some of our leaders to help us solve the traffic congestion problem. Yet, they have solutions for themselves. They have sirens riding on the wrong side of the road, a convoy of like 50 cars. For what? This is the British Prime Minister Theresa May's motorcade. 3 cars. 1 for directions, the second car carries her, the third car inabeba handbag yake. 3 cars. 3 cars. Come back home. This one right here is a convoy of a local MCA on his way to launch a wooden bridge. Gari moja imebeba simu, ingine imebeba kofia, ingine imebeba power bank, ingine imebeba cable hiyo power bank, alafu kuna gari ya manifesto. See, bottom line, the people who are expected to help solve the traffic problems themselves sometimes cause the traffic jam. Now, for the leaders who visit our country and have to make special arrangements with the traffic, we understand. Netanyahu, President Obama, it is understandable. And I don't even think it's because of security. It's how we are on Kenyan road. Sisi vile sisi tunaendesha gari na vile tunabehave kwa barabara. If roads weren't closed when Obama visited Kenya, he may have been forced to take nduthi or be late for the summit. Ati mmesikia Odere ameingia beast nyuma. Mazee Obama amechukulia nduthi hapo Vision Plaza. Na beast je? Beast imebondwa nyuma na Matia Kayole. Sasa beast vile limebondwa nyuma ikabonda ile vits ilikuwa mbele. Sasa hiyo beast haitoki hapo mpaka Chalio Dem afike. Exactly. Now don't get this twisted though. Traffic is not such a bad thing. Traffic is a big feature in this country. In fact, Nairobi traffic is a tourist attraction. And traffic can sometimes come through for you majorly.
Nataka niwahi kufika, njia ina jam, sasa wapi ndapita? Nimekaa karibia saa 6, sasa kukaa nimechoka. Oh baby, sijamona a long time now. Naona route toka mwezi jana. Nimeshamwambia mama nimefika tangu mchana.
That's Malo from Tanzania. He saved his relationship by using Nairobi traffic as an excuse for being late for supper. Tanzania kuna jam ingekuwa kama excuse hiyo time that would have fit the profile. Now, an average Nairobian uses traffic as an excuse at least twice a day. Bro, mbona ugali haijaiva? Jam, Buddha, jam. Now, traffic has to be the realest example of one man's meat is another one's poison. Traffic comes as a source of income for hawkers and border riders. They reap big when there is a gridlock. Now, traffic in Kenya is so slow that you can get to listen to a full Bonoko speech. You know, Bonoko is the slowest speaker we have in this country. Alafu, I think his employers know that. That's why they always have him do the traffic updates. Anaenda na pesi ya magari. Bagadi naona ikisoga mdogo. Really? Now, there is no denying that several measures are being taken to curb the issue of traffic, expansion of roads, the Governor Kidero drums, the yellow boxes, bypasses. Senator Mike Sonko also suggested the rethinking of working days, adjusting the usual 8 to 5, so that people can share the burden of traffic. Watu wengine waende kazi mchana, wengine waende usiku to ensure everyone is not on the road at the same time. But that was criticized for being unrealistic. And I understand that traffic is an opportunity for business for guys like bodaboda nini, watu wa bodaboda, hawkers, na wale watu wa dawa za minyo. But it's also a great impediment to the economy. In the words of Cindy Ogana, we cannot have an economy that is crippled by children. Going back to school, watoto, every parent doesn't have to take their child to school. No. You don't have to take your children to school individually. Wacha wapande basi. One bus has 60 kids. That's 60 cars less in a jam. And I'm really hoping we can get to some point where, like in some developing countries where traffic jam is a luxury. A David Beckham billboard once caused traffic, major traffic in New York. Let's also get to a point where you can be listening to radio, alafu unasikia Gong Road imeshika mdogo mdogo. Na bua kuna picha imewekwa hapo ya Kothe ndio inashaganya madere. We take a short commercial break. We'll be right back with our guests to help us break this down even further. Hello and welcome to the Weekend Edition. I'm Dr. Kingori. Our subject on the show tonight is traffic jams, and who better to speak about traffic, especially in the city, than the Deputy Governor of Nairobi, Honorable Jonathan Mweke. Jonathan Mweke, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. First of all, Governor, I'm so happy. Umeni Salimi, I'm so happy. I want to show you something I was really holding my heart for before we started the show.
We're privileged to have Deputy Governor himself, Jonathan Mweke. Karibu.
Asante sana.
We're hanging here.
Governor, I was so worried about that. Response time yako ya salamu ni kama ya bonoko ya kuongea. Karibu sana.
Asante.
Welcome to the show.
Asante, Doctor.
We're doing very well in traffic in Nairobi. We are top 10 in the world, actually.
Let me just give you a background.
Yes.
1963,
Yes.
there was 300,000 people in Nairobi and 4,000 cars.
Okay.
Now, 54 years later, there is 5 million people in Nairobi. That's just during the day. At night, there's 4 million.
Now that is something that was done in 1963.
Yes.
Does that mean that we have to solve that? We have to turn back the hands of time?
There's a few things that cause traffic. One is that of a congestion of the city, and we didn't improve over the years that road infrastructure.
Okay.
Yeah. Number two is you're moving around almost 2 or 3 million people in, out, and around the city in 14-seater matatus. So the matatus are full, and they're part of the congestion vile umeona kwa hiyo clip yako. What we have done is we have now created satellite matatu termini outside of the city. And in the last 4 years, we've done about 7 of them.
Okay.
There's New Ngara, there's Murang'a Road, there's Desai Road, there's Park Road, there's 2 Murangas actually. There's Railway over here that we have also been able to do,
Okay.
And there's Pangani.
Okay.
So we say, so when the matatus come all the way from outside of the city, they go in the peripheral. Yani hauingi CBD.
Okay.
Yeah, so you go outside Ngara, Pangani, Railway, Mudhurwa. Then from there, there you get maziwe msi uko funny.
No, niko serious. Hata niko na idea poa sana.
Niko serious na unani enjoy.
Niko serious. Actually, I have a better idea. You've done all that. You've done all that.
Okay.
You've done all that. Then, see, basi, do you think this would work? Watu wa nje ndio wanaleta traffic Nairobi, si ndio? Watu wa nje. Sisi watu tunaishi huku tuko sawa. But why don't you lock the city? And you have officers pale kwa mali Nairobi inaanza mali hao watu nje wanaleta traffic. You inspect them. Unaenda wapi? Kaa nje. Mlisema gava iko na do yenu. Sasa imefika how much?
72 billion.
72 billion. Mbona msiwafanye vile nyinyi ufanya watu wengine hawajalipa rate? Time tu unye akipita mshike Mercedes 2. Mungoje tena next time.
Hauwezi. Kwa sababu sasa hapo ni national security. Na sisi ni wangwana. Yeah? Tunajua tukienda to clamp judiciary.
Okay.
Kuna wasi hapa kwanza hata nikiangalia masura hapa kuna wasi wako na makesi. Hawatahudumiwa.
Some of the things that you're doing as a community.
Wacha niwaambie. Sasa Thika Road.
Yes.
Kutoka hapa Ngara mpaka Thika.
Yes.
Both sides 6 lanes. Inaitwa super highway. Ilijengwa na 26 billion shillings.
26 billion.
Gava iko na yetu 72. So we imagine ni nini hatuwezi jenga hii Nairobi
so
kama
president akilipa rent tunatengeneza Thika.
Kaa 5.
Ambia president aliparent kwa hiyo kamera sasa. Mwambie aliparent. Mwambie aliparent.
Maze president.
Wao watch.
Weto tu amri hiyo do itoke.
Mwambie. Acha kuzunguka huku. Mwambie yeye alipe.
Ndio hiyo do itoke. Tuhudumie hao wase wote.
Umenipa hiyo story. Mwambie ana watch show yetu by the way. Mwambie nyinyi mmezoea baba ngena alipa rent. Like mwambie.
Maze orezo jo tuko na shida mtaani. Hii do 72 billion. Tushaka State House tukiwa na Mbuyu Buda Kidero. Maze tumeomba hiyo do miaka 4 haijakam. Mabarabara sasa angalia Daktari Kingori anasema kuna jam.
Before we close, si upeana final moment. Hii ni moment ya guest kwa show. Sana wasi wengi upenda kutumia hii platform kucomplain. Unajua kucomplain? When I'm laid back, unajua complain? Kuteta.
Kuteta.
Hebu test.
People have a track record. I've been able to come here and give my track record. Nini tumefanyia watu wa Nairobi. And yule mama mboga ambaye tumemwekea taa na sasa biashara yake imethrive, anafanya usiku na mchana, anatufeel. That's a track record. Ile biashara
wasi wana exist.
Wasi wame exist. Yule mtu ilikuwa inamtake, you have to bribe somebody, unatake 2-3 months kupata business license. Sasa unaenda kwa phone yako, uko kwa dinga, kabla ufike tao, kutoka Jerry ushakuwa na business license yako, unaiprint ukifika tao. Ameifeel. Now wale wengine wapinzani, Sonko akijapa, he has to give his track record. Which bill has he passed in parliament for the 7 years he has been there?
Si parliament kuna hoteli hiyo.
Sio kulipa, kupitisha. Ni bill gani amepitisha? Kazi ya senator ni kuenda kuunblock hizo my issues. So when he comes here, he has to give his track record, because a track record doesn't lie. And I'll finish with a quote.
Yes.
There's a fellow called Bishop Augustine. He was a philosopher in the United States in the 1600s. Alisema, the truth is like a lion. You never have to defend it. You let it loose, it will defend itself. So kila mtu akamapa na track record yake.
The truth is like a lion.
You don't have to defend it. You let it loose, it will defend itself.
So when those lions were roaming in the sea, that was the government telling the truth. So that's a very, very important point on the show, and I really hope story ya traffic akiitaisha kabisa. Tungependa sana kuongelea stories za harassment ya inaitwaje, harassment by county officers sometimes, but that tunataka kuinvite governor kuje tuongee story ya bylaws if possible.
Sawa.
But parking yangu tu peke yake eka moja land rates ni how much?
Hiyo utaget. Parking utaget.
Land rates ya parking tu ya
hiyo utaget.
Sisi utatu.
Land rates yangu utatu kwa siku.
Si yo yangu sasa nikisema.
Hiyo yako? Hapana. Yaani unataka property ya gava iko yako.
Ni mimi na kama
ndio wale makatels
kama siko.
Maze tumenyonga makatels huko, ndio unaona tunapigwa sana by the way.
Mnapigwa sana. Na cartels ni nani?
Tumenyonga makatels.
Cartels ni nani?
Wale wa kuiba mashamba hii Nairobi. Wewe angalia na wale watu wetu wote wanatuoppose, wanatembea na wale makanselers wa zamani.
So cartels ni kanselers wa zamani.
Ndio walikuwa naiba mashamba.
So waizi wa shamba ni cartels wa zamani.
Na wako wengi wanataka kurudi. Ndio tumewazimia.
So kuna squad tu wao ni kanselers wa zamani,
wa zamani.
Hata hawafai
kuiba mashamba.
Kazi yao ni kuiba tu mashamba. Unaamka asubuhi unapata shamba yako ilikuwa hapa na leo iko.
Imeishia by the way, imeenda missing. Tumewanyonga kabisa tukiwa na gavana.
Hao ndio makatels.
Hao ni makatels.
Ni shamba peke yake. Ama wana deal na kila kitu nini?
Ni vitu mob, kusupply mahewa. Watu walikuwa na supply hewa City Hall. Tumeinyonga.
Hewa? Kwani mna breathe nini City Hall? As in City Hall hakuna oxygen new outsource.
Kuna watu wana supply, hakuna kitu wana supply, inaenda through the system.
Nimekuget. Mimi nilikuwa nafikiria the governor is not breathing. What if to oxygen? Wapi?
Hapana. Walikuwa na supply nothing na wanalipwa.
Mimi si uniambie nikuje huko City Hall. Naweza kuwa waziri wa nini?
By the way, wacha.
Actually mimi nakwambia for real. Mnaweza jitetea na mimi. No, not director of jokes. Mimi niko tu mimi. Alafu mkiulizwa mbona hamjatengeneza barabara mseme the minister is not serious. You can do that. You can use me as an alibi. Actually, make me head of all the ministries. Alafu mnasema, why is barabara hazijatengenezwa? Why is health is deteriorating? Ask mnipatie jina title.
But hapo kuna shida kidogo.
Overall minister.
Hapo kuna shida kidogo.
Shida gani?
Mimi na Bwana Kidero sio wasi wa my excuses.
Si excuse.
Timu yetu ni timu kazi. Hapana. Kusema minister sio serious, sio ni excuse.
Ni valid. Inaweza pita. The overall inaweza kuwa the supreme minister, inaweza kuwa prime minister wa county anaitwa
hiyo.
Wapi makofi ya governor? Thank you for coming on the show. Asante sana. Now that's it for the weekend edition. See you next week. My name is Dr. Kingori.